My name is Bryan. This is my show. Probably get my 15 minutes of fame. I've been trying to convince her to do this. Now that the camera's rolling, it's all about me.
Stupid. Hey y'all, it's your girl Lisa Mack, and I am back with a reflections video. And I have my good friend Bryan Parker here. Hey B.
How you doing?
Mr. Parker.
Doing good. Doing good.
And y'all, today we wanted to just share our reflections over being 40 and single. I know that this isn't planner related, but it is kind of planner related because, you know, at 40, we're making a lot of plans. We're adjusting our lives, trying to, you know, by now we should know what it is we kind of want to do. So we're making plans to get to those next steps. And so being single at 40 is, would you say, kind of hard?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of hard. It's different. And
Very
so,
difficult.
yeah, very difficult. And so we have to prepare for what's ahead, because a lot of times we're already, like I said before, established and, you know, trying to get to that goal. And, you know, sometimes we get knocked off track. So we just wanted to talk about being single, our experiences with being single at 40. And me, Christian. I don't know. I can't speak
I'm
for you.
Christian. 100%. 100% Christian. 100%.
So, what have you found most difficult about dating after being 40 and dating?
But I'll tell you what I do know.
Or 40 and single, I mean, I'm sorry.
40 and single. So this is what I do know, and this is real critical, is that there's no one answer to most problems in relationships. And so one thing that we do wrong as people who are trying to date is we seek out advice from people, or just advice, and it's like that stop shop kind of concept where we feel like it's that one answer that we're looking for, and it's really we just started to realize over time that it's not one answer to every situation. There's no one answer. You basically build like your experiences, or you try to build relationships based on your experience, and also being available to understand what it is that the person that you're trying to date, what they went through. But that takes for you to get to know the person, and I think that's what we try to get lazy. We try to go in with a conditioned mindset of who people are. We bring in culture or whatever the case may be. Or we just how we were raised or how we perceive relationships to be. And then we kind of superimpose those thoughts on people and kind of hope that they'll live up to them. Whereas we should just get to know them for who they are and then go from there. And not just be lazy, not be lazy.
So you feel like after 40, do you feel like being in a relationship or, you know, trying to date and all that after 40, do you feel like most people are lazy?
No, I think people have good intentions. I think people are willing to do the work. But I just think we just assume that we kind of know what the person is trying to do. What we assume we know what we want to do. And so we just go in with stereotypes of like how relationships should be. And then when people don't live up to it, then we think it's a problem. So I think people are willing to do the work. We just don't know we're willing to do the work. Or we should be willing to do work.
Okay, so you just talked about your struggles, or what you think is the major struggle with being 40 and single. So I mentioned dating. Do you find it hard? Do you find it really hard, like dating and like the approach to dating, like how to get to like hollering at a girl or whatever, you know? Do you find that hard? Because for us, it's like men are like, you know, for women, it's like most of the time they in the DMs or whatever, or they see you walking, it's like, hey girl, how you doing, you know, or whatever. So it's kind of hard to even, you know, accept that to begin with. So how do you see it as far as shooting your shot? Like, is that...
It's hard. It's hard because, like, for the first and foremost, like, you go in with a value system. So at our age, we should have, like, a value system in place of core values, certain things that we can compromise on, but there are core values that we won't compromise on. And so it's hard because the selection is fewer when you get older. And sometimes you infringe on your core values, the things that you look for, things that the person may have, or qualities the person may have. And at some point in your past, when you were younger, you were hold strong to core values. As you get older, you start to feel like whether or not, you know, you try to just reassess whether or not those so-called core values are enough to keep you from trying to date the person.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to stick to like your core values, it is kind of kind of difficult dating because it's just not that many people who are just open and naturally available to date. They've gone through a lot of experiences, and they've had a lot of. If they're single, like I had mentioned to you before, like they have a lot of failed relationships. If they're single right now, they have 100% of their relationships failed.
That's right.
And so, like, you know, they bring all that into the relationship with you, and they date with all that and on them. So it's like, as much as we try to pretend like it's not an issue, like, you know, we're here with a clean slate. We are just basically just trying to date each other as a clean slate.
Yeah.
That's not even possible.
No.
Because it's like you bring in your experiences, and sometimes those experiences leave a negative mark, which makes it so difficult to date at our age, because it's like you have to date past those experiences.
Yeah.
And a lot of times there's trust issues and other little issues that come along with just having failed relationships. So you just got to figure out how to date past those, or get the person to see you past like their experiences and give you a fair chance.
Yeah. And how do you do that?
I mean, you can't ever control somebody else. You can only control yourself. So what you just hope for is that they're open-minded and that they're willing to kind of look at themselves and see, like, it all starts with introspection. It all starts like with you. You know what I'm saying? So as much, we always want to blame somebody else or look at the next person in a relationship or in a dating process. Or I wouldn't say blame, but just look at them and assess whether or not the relationship is successful based on their intent, based on the things that they're doing. But really, we have to look at ourselves.
True.
And we only can hold ourselves accountable to what it is that we can bring to the relationship. You know?
So going into that, when you initially start to date and, you know, you're talking to someone or whatever, do you go in with intent to see it to the end, or do you go in with the intent of seeing it for what it is? And how do you navigate that?
I believe, like, you go in to date. If something manifests beyond dating, then that's a beautiful thing, because you know where you are, and hopefully the person that you're trying to date know where he or she is, right? So you just go in to date, and then you ultimately look to see if this person can be more than just somebody you want to date. But of course, if you don't see that there's a future at any point, either as friends or in a romantic partnership, like, you have to make steps to kind of just move on beyond that relationship. But I think for the most part, you just want to get to know the person in a fair way without superimposing any type of, titles or just anything that you think you might want to move towards. You just stay in that moment and make sure you date right, and you get what you need to get from dating before you move past that into something else, or even just think to really just move past that.
Okay. So being 40 and single, what are some of your struggles?
You know, when I was younger, so a lot of, and I never was a ladies' man or nothing like that, so I don't want to give that impression. But a lot of my struggle was just physical, like things that are sensual. Like you want to see a beautiful girl, and you want to, just a lot of just visual stuff going on. As you get older, I've noticed from my experience is that those things become less important, although they never stop being important. Yeah. And you're looking for somebody with more substance. You know, somebody that, for me, there's places I want to go in life. And there's things I want to achieve, whether it's personal or spiritual, whatever the case may be. So I want to make sure that person kind of lines up with the vision that I have, that for me, that God has given me, in the direction that I want to go in life, so that I can feel that I have the right person in support of that vision as well. Not just companionship, and not just somebody that's going to be pretty or beautiful. You know what I mean? Although that's important to have intrinsic and extrinsic beauty, but I wouldn't. I would say that at this point in my life, I want to just make sure the person is really somebody of substance.
Yeah. Well, me being 40 and single, my biggest struggle right now is just loneliness, just being lonely.
You still
lonely all the time.
She has another video about loneliness, so I haven't go on YouTube and I checked it out. So I'm just asking. You still
and you
lonely?
you was lonely like 2 months ago.
Yeah,
you still lonely?
But that's life. That's
being lonely.
it. Yeah.
But for real, that is life, and it is a real thing. Like being lonely, it is a real thing, especially when, like me, I jump from relationship to relationship to relationship. And so it's like, once that stopped, and I told myself, okay, that didn't work. So, you going from relationship to relationship didn't work. So slow down. Think about what it is you truly want. Focus on that. Find out who you are and what you like. And then, go from there. So
how do you know, what do you truly want when we're all constantly changing? And the things, because we are constantly changing, the things we want and the things that we desire are constantly changing.
Yeah. Well, for me, so for example, for me, I would get with a guy, and if he was just like, "Oh, you fine," then I'm like, "Oh, he like me."
He meet the criteria.
He like me. So it's like, "Oh, he like me." So I'm up here like, "Hey, you like me," but then he ain't bringing nothing else to the table. Like, is he gonna be there for you? Like when you get sick, is he gonna be there to help you? Are you still gonna be cute then? No, you ain't cute when you sick. So, but I wasn't looking past that. I was just looking at the surface. Yeah. So I was jumping from relationship to relationship, just looking at the surface of things. And so, now in being alone and in my loneliness, I've noticed that, I want more than that, so much more than that. Yeah. And so I just have to back down and just, be by myself for a while just to, try to figure it out. But now I'm ready, dating.
So how is that? I mean, what did you get from taking that break, that hiatus where you just need to be by yourself?
You know what?
What did you extract from that made you ready to say I'm ready?
The main thing that I got was I figured out what I liked. Yeah. Because a lot of times you will condition yourself to be whatever that person is. Yeah. Like my first husband, he loved basketball. I said this before. So I was like, oh, I like basketball. Well, I don't. I like football. Yeah. But I was just doing that because that's what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? So I was just conditioning myself to be whatever it was they were. Yeah. Instead of me just being myself. And so in that time by myself, I was able to find out who I was. I realized I liked, to craft. I didn't know that, before. Well, I knew it, but I wasn't doing it because I was so focused on other stuff. So I figured out I like to craft. I figured out that I like being by myself some of the times. You know, going to movies. I love hanging out with my friends. I never did that before. I traveled by myself. Yeah. It was a lot of things that I did just by myself, and I realized, I started learning who I was. And so once I figured that out, that those things aren't going anywhere. Mm-hmm. So, but I can, date, and all those things can be enhanced, from this point on. So,
but just kind of listening to you talk about how, for an example you gave, that your husband was into, your ex-husband was into basketball, and you felt like you were moving towards just doing that because he liked doing it. But it could have been that you liked, there was some element of it that not necessarily basketball. For him, he probably loved basketball, but maybe there was an element of the experience that maybe catered to what you were looking for, or something that benefited you. Yeah. Like just being around him. Like for example, sometimes you just want to be in the ambiance of a person, company, true. And so it doesn't matter where you are. And so you find pleasure in being there, but you're not necessarily there for whatever action is going on.
Yeah, that's true. But for me, that's really not what it was. I was over there trying to learn stats and statistics and players' numbers and names and all that, just so that I could be in the conversation. But I don't like that. Yeah, but I think it's
good though. But I think it's good because at the end of the day, like there are gonna be in relationships, there are gonna be times where you're gonna want to do things together. Yeah. There's gonna be things you're gonna be interested in, and he's gonna be interested in other things. That y'all don't have anything in common with those two different things, right? Yeah. And so it's like you have to find out how is it that we can support each other and be with each other. That's true. In ways that maybe might not necessarily interest me, but I still feel like I want to be there with you. Yeah. And I still want to support you. Yeah. And I still want to find some interest in the things that you like. Yeah. Because we are a couple. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true. I can see that. But I get what you're saying. So I see you're saying not the actual thing, but you're just there supporting. Yeah, because that's going to be a part of the relationship at some point anyway. Got you. So I think that even though you may see it as like, all right, I wasn't into that, and I think you even alluded to the fact that you genuinely was just going. It didn't have nothing to do with anything else. Liking it. Yeah. But I think that was good. See that you said in that relationship because you were there. And you could have been anywhere else. You could have been fighting him. You could have been saying
That's true.
any and everything you wanted to say. And not just in that relationship, but in any relationship where you kind of just allow yourself the pleasure, really just find pleasure in doing things that you don't necessarily find interesting.
Yeah.
True. But that's just a part of the qualities of what you need to have to be like a good partner in a relationship to me.
That's true.
One of the parts is like you have to be accepting of each other.
Yeah.
And so I have different interests than you have, right? And so, and then I'm a different person than anybody that you know. And so, like, let's say if we even dated for an example, right? That you would have to get to know me. And then in that getting to know me, you're going to discover there's so many things that I'm into that I'm just not really feeling.
Yeah.
That you're not really feeling.
Yeah.
And then there's things that I would discover in you that I probably wouldn't say I'm feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it could be like crafts or something. It could be an element. Like I said, I watched your shows, and that's kind of like how we ended up doing this. And I found some interest in it, but maybe not to the level that you found interest in it, right?
Exactly.
But yet I found some interest in
Yeah.
it. So it was kind of rewarding to some extent, but I'm not fully saying that I would be appreciated the way you or maybe your audience would appreciate it.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I could see as a result, if we were like to date or something like that, that would be something I would support you in and have some understanding of why you like it.
Yeah.
And then you would have in return understand like why I like some of the things I like, even though you may not be fully on board to like say you want to do it for the reasons that I would want to do it.
I get it.
Yeah.
I got you. I'm here for that. You helped me to see that in a different way.
I'm a helpful kind of person.
Yeah, you changed the narrative because I'm over here all negative about it. He liked basketball and I don't, but I was just sitting there at the games for nothing. Nah, you being
sound like
supportive.
you're being a good supportive wife at the time.
What a way to make me sound
good. Right. Sound like it to me. Sound like it to me. How is dating for you?
How is
being
dating
40
for me?
and
Being
single.
40 and single and dating, it is scary.
Why is it scary though?
It's
Why
scary.
is it scary?
It's scary.
You just saying that.
I'm not just saying that.
What's so scary about that?
It's scary because you don't know. You don't know. It's the unknown.
All right. So it's always been
It's
the unknown.
Yes, it
Even
has
when you were in
always been the
20s.
unknown. But you're 40, and it's like for me, I feel kind of like I'm getting to that latter part of life.
Yeah.
So I want to be more serious. So I'm dating with intention, not dating just to be dating. Because at 20 or whatever, you starting out, you can build together, all of that. But at 40, you're already pretty much established or should be close to it, whatever. And so it's scary to bring somebody into that first off, because 9 times out of 10, that person's going to have kids.
Yeah.
So you jumping into that situation. Then if you living in different areas, who's gonna want to move?
Right.
Because you're gonna want to be closer to date, get to know each other, whatever. Because I'm dating with intention. Right. I'm not dating just to date, just to be out here dating everybody.
What's your intention?
My intention is to have a husband at some point. Like at the end of this, I'm gonna need a ring.
No, I got you.
But no. But but after dating and getting to know a person or whatever, hopefully that's the goal.
Yeah.
Is to end up happy in a healthy relationship, be it together or married, whatever. I'm open to whatever. But it's hard because it's so many facets. It's so many things that you have to fold into that whole situation.
Yeah.
It's totally different when you're young.
Yeah.
So, and then you looking at, my health. I'm not always going to be in good health.
Exactly.
I'm 40. So I got another 20 good years on me, before things, kind of start. And that's just the reality. At 60 and 70, things going to start declining. Right. I need somebody that's going to be there. Mm-hmm. I'm tired of dudes walking off, so it's scary.
But that's a part of the dating experience is that it is the most vulnerable time of knowing somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because it is a time where you have to be honest with yourself first, looking at yourself and making sure that you are available to this person and willing to go wherever y'all agree y'all want to go together. Yeah. And then also being fair in the process, allowing them to figure you out and figure out whoever in the dating process is figure out on their end if they want to really continue on. Yeah. So, I mean, if there's ever a time where people would come together and then leave or whatever, it would be the dating process that would make that more healthier. Yeah. I think where it gets more dysfunctional is when people carry on and on and on past the dating and start to make promises and start to fill roles within your life. And only knowing in the back of their mind, their subconscious mind, that they just aren't there. You know what I'm saying? But in essence, they're stringing you along to think that there is something more that's not there. And then you put all your hopes and dreams and ambitions and expectations into this relationship, only for you to be setting seed and watering seed that don't even exist. You know, and I think that's where it becomes dysfunctional.
Yeah. So it is more healthy to cut it off during the dating process. Like when you know for sure, cut it off.
Because if you're a healthy human being, like if you're healthy, not that you haven't had because failed relationships is not a bad thing. I mean, at the end of the day, failed attempts at relationships is not a bad thing. But if you're healthy coming out of relationships, rejection is just rejection. I think we live in a society where we make rejection so just hurtful, so not normal or whatever, or abnormal, and it's like we feel castigated, we feel set aside, we feel like everybody's accepted and we're rejected. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's doing good, but we're as an individual isn't. And it's like, no, at the end of the day, it takes a healthy person to be able to say no to a relationship just as much as it takes a healthy person to say yes to a relationship. And not everybody you're going to meet is going to have those core values or those qualities that you think are important to be in a relationship with. And why should you hang on to somebody that you don't see a future with?
That's true.
In reality, just based on the facts of the relationship, not just based on emotionality or your feelings about the person, or if you think they're cute or not, or handsome or attractive. At the end of the day, you want to make sure they have substance. And if they don't possess the substance that you feel is necessary to move forward, then you should end it. And that's a healthy thing to me.
Yeah, you should just cut it off.
Cut it off like scissors.
And that's what we're going to do with this video. We're just going to cut it off. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you, Mr. Parker, for this dude is really funny. But anyway.
No, I'm boring.
Not at all. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big, big, big thumbs up. Don't forget to comment and do not forget to subscribe. And if you already subscribed, hit that notification bell. Ding, ding. That way, anytime I post a video, you'll be notified. But most of all, y'all, be blessed. Keep planning, keep praying, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye. You gonna say bye? Bye, y'all.